There is a proposal that is live right now that could end everything we're working towards on Terra Luna Classic. Before we dive into the proposal, I just want to say right now, Terra Luna Classic, we're having a good day. We are going positive about 1.5% on the day, and we are moving back towards that $700 million market cap. Now, the proposal that I want to talk to you guys about is this one. Vote to save on-chain funds stolen from Terraport. You guys have been updated on my channel recently. You probably know I've been covering Terraport quite a bit, over 40 hours of investigation to bring you guys the dozens of different pieces of evidence that I've presented around Terraport. Now, at face value, this might sound like a somewhat decent proposal to save funds that were stolen in the Terraport attack if we have an option to recover it, but there's quite a few issues with this proposal. And the first one I want to bring up is, right, there's arguments that can be made, and we're going to talk about some of those in a second. But the first thing I want to make very clear is that if this proposal does not pass, users' funds are not gone forever. Now, the amount that was actually stolen technically might not be able to be recovered, but Terraport as a platform, they have enough money to actually return all the funds back to investors who lost money. So all investors should be able to be made whole according to Terraport's information that they have provided around how much they've actually raised in the sales. And they're not giving us a clear number, so the range is pretty wide. According to what we're seeing on the blockchain, it could be anywhere from $3.5 million to $5 million that they raised. They're not giving us a solid number, which is a little concerning, and I think they should do that. But regardless, there should be enough money to return people's funds. So the first major problem with this proposal is that's going to implement an emergency code upgrade that will enable the temporary locking of approximately $2 million of stolen funds to give Terraport time to find a more permanent solution. This patch will be removed once it's served its purpose. So what they're saying here is that they want to implement a patch that's going to lock funds in a wallet. So if you have your blockchain wallet, this patch could in theory lock any wallet on the blockchain from being able to transfer any funds. And once they complete their purpose with Terraport, that patch is going to be removed. Now, the problem with this, of course, is one, you're changing how the blockchain works. The blockchain works where people own their funds. Nobody can take your money away on the blockchain because it's verified by all these validators. Your money is your money unless you end up getting hacked, you give somebody access to your wallet, or you move your funds yourself. There's not really a way where at the blockchain level, someone go ahead and steal all your funds. So what's happening here is that it's going to change that. That's going to fundamentally change it. It's going to add a ton more centralization to Terra Luna Classic, and it's going to give a group the access to lock anybody's wallets that they want. If you guys appreciate the over 40 hours I spent researching Terraport, please consider becoming channel members for only $4. That's obviously a pretty scary idea that someone could just go ahead and lock your funds on the blockchain without you being involved in that process at all, without you having done something that allowed that to happen. It could just happen totally outside of your control, which is definitely scary. But the other problem with this is that this says that they're going to remove the patch once it's served its purpose. So they're going to implement this function just for Terraport, and in the future, it's going to be removed, which is a problem because you're creating a double standard. Terraport would be allowed to recover their money that was hacked, but there's lots of people that get hacked. They accidentally give out their seed phrase, they accidentally give out their wallet information, they click on a fake link, whatever it is that results in their wallet balance being stolen. They would not be able to utilize this patch. So if you were not involved in Terraport and you got your money stolen in a different way, you're just screwed. They're not going to help you. They only are going to help themselves. It's not only is that changing the blockchain at a core level, but it's also extremely unfair because it's essentially a bailout for this corporation, not for the individual people in our community who are hurt from other incidences of their wallet value being stolen. The other problem with this proposal is that if it was going to pass and the funds are locked, they'll then consult with the community and present a proposal on how to go about returning the funds to the Terraport liquidity pool. So this means not only are they going to lock the funds in the wallet, because if it's locked there, they still can't get it back. It's just stopped there. The hacker or person who attacked them can't transfer the funds out to exchanges, things like that. It is stuck in that wallet. But the problem here is that after that step, then they're going to create a way to actually take the balances out of people's wallets. And so at the core level, they're wanting to implement on our blockchain a code that's going to allow them to first freeze wallet balances so you can't do anything with your wallet. And they're also going to have a code that's going to take the balance out of that wallet and put it back into their wallets, which is, again, at a core level, extremely scary to have a code on the blockchain that could allow them to actually go ahead and freeze anybody's wallets and take the value out of those wallets and give it to themselves. And to put this into perspective, they're wanting to fundamentally change the Terra Luna Classic blockchain from a decentralized blockchain to a centralized blockchain. There's no other way to look at this. They're going to add a function for somebody to be able to freeze and drain your wallet value. That is extremely centralized because one party is going to have that control. This is a $650 million blockchain that they're wanting to put at risk to save a few $1,000,000 worth of funds that was hacked. And to be clear, I do feel for the people who were attacked. I don't think it's their fault at all. I think the team has exhibited, in my opinion, gross negligence that has led to people losing millions of dollars. And so the fault lies on the team. But that's where, again, at the beginning, I said the team has the money to actually return people's funds. They can go ahead, dip into their own pockets and make everyone who lost money whole. Everybody could get their money back. The team would have to dip into their own pockets to make that happen. So in reality, what this is not here to actually save people's money, because what they said right here at the bottom is something that rubbed me kind of the wrong way here. They talked about they hope we're going to vote yes, all this kind of stuff, and any other vote will increase the chances of the stolen funds being lost forever and will in effect turn a blind eye to criminal activity and reduce the likelihood of LUNC recovery. And so, while yes, technically the funds that were stolen might not be able to be recovered because they are in the person's wallet who attacked us, people who lost money can still be made whole by the Terraport team. And so, in my opinion, this is essentially a bailout for the Terraport project, and they're wanting us to take on the risk as a L1 blockchain, as the giant and the widespread Terra Luna Classic community, $650 million network. They want us to take on the risk to bail them out so they don't have to pay investors back and make investors whole. And so I'm actually very glad that so many people are in here voting no and no with veto. This proposal is getting almost no support, and it's probably going to get shut down. And I'm glad that's happening. Again, I don't want people to lose their money, but as I presented earlier, there is a path for people to get their money back. They just have to go through Terraport. Terraport has to go into their own pockets and pay people back. They raise enough money to make investors whole. They should be able to handle that, unless they lied about that, or maybe numbers were not presented fairly and correctly, but they should, in theory, have enough money to make investors whole, and that's why I don't think we need this proposal. This proposal is going to fundamentally change the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem. It's going to turn us from a decentralized ecosystem into an extremely centralized ecosystem. It's going to destroy what we stand for, and in a more important than that, it's not really here to save investors' funds. It would be a different way to save investors' funds, but it's not like with this proposal failing, investors will never get their money back. That just does not appear to be true. Normally I tell you guys, go ahead, just vote how you want on proposals, but in this case scenario, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to plead with you to vote no or no with veto on this proposal. We don't need to do this. We don't need to fundamentally change the Terra Luna Classic ecosystem, make ourselves way more centralized, just to essentially bail out a corporation that failed to properly launch a DEX because they didn't want to do an audit beforehand. They didn't want to do the proper due diligence. They wanted to make sure that things were done correctly. And in that case scenario, it's their fault, in my opinion, that this is happening, and it's their responsibility to make users whole. And so if you want to get your money back from Terraport, I recommend that you go to Terra Vita, go to Rex, try and beg them to give you your money back, because it's very likely that they might actually owe you money. You might be entitled to get your money back. You can talk to lawyers about that as well. It's possible they violated the terms of the sale. And if you want to actually pursue other action, their corporations are legally registered corporations within the UK. You can search them up, type in Rex Harrison, Terra Vita UK. You can find these corporations. They wanted to give this information out to the public. And now, unfortunately, because they failed to properly launch a DEX, it's probably going to be used against them to hold them accountable for their actions. So I'd recommend that you guys go ahead, go to authorities, go to different lawmakers, make sure that these guys are held accountable for the actions that they did.